It's not something that you plan for. Like in the rest of your career, you think, oh, maybe I'll win a Tony or an Oscar or an Emmy. You think about that you kind of aspire to it. You don't, work all your life and say, maybe someday the president will give me a medal. It comes as a complete surprise, and I think that's what makes it so wonderful. It's that somebody has noticed and appreciated how you've done your life's work. My really first big impact was playing the first single girl on television, which the president discussed today. And I knew when I did it that it was revolutionary, and it meant a lot to me that it was a success, because it meant that what I was talking about being a single girl who didn't want to get married and wanted to make life on her own, that I wasn't really as revolutionary as I thought, but in fact, it was kind of a fait accompli. Every home in America had a that girl in it. And today, so many women came up to me, congresswomen and all kinds of different accomplished women, and said, that girl was my role model growing up. And it really means a lot to me that they say that, because it's really what I wanted to do. I wanted to say to young girls and women, your life does not have to be defined by what your mothers and your grandmothers did. I always wanted to be an actress, but I think I realized early on, because my father was a comedian, Danny Thomas, and he always said that every joke has a message. No matter what the joke is, there's a message in it. There's an irony in it. You're saying something about somebody or something that's going on in the culture. So I have always been aware of that every joke, every comedy, every drama does say something about the culture and is speaking to people, and people are listening. And one of the things that's great about comedy is, a great psychoanalyst said at one time, that what is learned with laughter is learned well. And I think that's true, and that's one of the things I've loved about doing comedy. And Free to Be You and Me, which the president spoke about today, really sang and told jokes and poems and stories that were funny and entertaining, but they were saying to children that the world should be a place that's equal for all races and genders and families, no matter what they look like. It's a family. So those are important messages that sometimes can be told way better to children if it's done with humor and entertainment. My father founded St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in 1962, and it had never been my thought that I would someday take it on. In fact, he was quite clear that it was not going to be my sisters and brothers' burden to carry. But after he was gone, I started going to St. Jude, and when I saw the children and met their parents, and when I held a dying child in my arms and said goodbye, I knew what it was to have a child die, and that I was going to do everything in my power to raise the money, to spread the message, to do whatever I could to have no parent ever have to live through this. And I learned that at the dining room table from my parents, from my father, who talked about St. Jude since we were children. When your father found something, when he builds something from the earth up, you really do have it in the very foundation of the family. I didn't expect to get as involved as I am. I'm now the National Outreach Director, and I'm part of the team that raises $1 billion a year. I think the best advice I ever received was from my father. When I was about 17 years old, I wanted to be an actress, and my father was already a very famous comedian. And everybody that was interviewing me and reviewing me was comparing me to him, and it scared me. So I said to my father, I don't want to be a Thomas. I want to change my name and get away from all this. And he said to me, I raised you to be a thoroughbred, and thoroughbreds run their own races. They don't look at any of the other horses. They just wear their blinders and they run, and that's what you have to do. You have to just run your own race. And I think that's the best advice I ever got. Run your own race. Don't look at any of the other horses. Run your own race.